Now here's who's going to be on the line today who RSVP'd. So we've got Thomas Mulrooney, and Thomas is going to be our first speaker. David Spalding is going to be on at noon. He had a little bit of a something he had to do, but he's going to chime in at noon. Ann Hudson is on the line. Robert Reinard is going to be joining us as well. Richard Hurd, Therese Wielagi is on the line. Hi, Therese. David Leto is on the line. Deborah Hudson, excellent, is on the line. Robert Palmer joined us a little early. We've been talking about how warm it was over the holiday. And then Jamie Letzring from the city. So I'll introduce each of you, but why don't we start with Thomas Mulrooney and Marsha, and I'm sure everybody here knows Thomas, but Marsha does not. So Thomas, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about your story and introduce yourself, and then also make some comments around being a leader now during COVID. What have you really had to lean on that's helped you especially become this amazing leader that you are? Thank you, Tom. And I'm going to say, Tom is a VP and CEO of UnityPoint Health and a board member and a President's Circle member. So thank you, Tom.
Katherine, well, thank you, and hello, everyone. Yeah, my day job, I have responsibility for Methodist West Hospital and Iowa Lutheran Hospital, in addition to our surgical and cardiovascular and transplant service lines in our Des Moines operations. And clearly, over the last many months, with all things COVID, it has been a challenging time, like it is for everybody else, but healthcare in particular. You know, we have had to adapt quickly, which would be an understatement. And I think the piece that I've leaned on and leaning on my colleagues has really been a resiliency. I've never quite seen us move as fast as we've had to move the last many months, making, you know, policy changes, not just by the day, but at times by the hour, to ensure that we are best positioned to care for our community with the disease that you know, we didn't know much about, and have certainly learned a lot in the last many months, but that presented a lot of unique challenges. But that resiliency of continuing to show up every day and continually solve for new problems has probably been one of those core leadership pieces that I think not only that I've leaned on, but it's helped me to lean on my colleagues who have also shown that as well too. So that would be my piece to offer up, and again, appreciate the time on the call today.
Thank you so much. And Tom, thank you for taking your time out. You're caring for people that are ill, people that have those elective surgeries right now, which we hope they're still doing that, right? People that have those important checkups too for their health, but you're out there on the front lines, you and your team. So really, thank you so much for your time. I know how very valuable it is.
Yep, thank you very much. And yes, we are, for everything else that could be wrong with somebody, we're back to taking care of everybody else, every other medical condition, and not just COVID as well too, although we still have a lot of COVID patients as well. So, you know, wear a mask and wash your hands is my advice.
Can we ask you, Tom, how many COVID patients you have? Is that an okay question to ask you?
No, that is an okay. The good news is we are down to about 20 admitted COVID patients across our 3 Des Moines adult facilities. That's down from a high where we were closer to 70. Although our, you know, kind of concern is more gearing up for winter, when we'll have the return of seasonal flu and likely a resurgence of COVID as well. So all of our planning and efforts now have heavily shifted towards being prepared for what we think will be coming this winter, and making sure we're ready for that influx of patients.
Yeah, that's, boy, that'll be here pretty soon, won't it? I tell you, we're already into July. So, well, thank you, Tom, and really appreciate your time this morning very much. And thank you for being a highly valued board member and President's Circle member. We appreciate your support, helping to keep West Des Moines strong and safe and healthy. So thank you so much. We would now like to introduce Ann Hudson. Ann Hudson is Managing Director of Principal Financial Group Midwest Business Center, and she is also a President's Circle member of the Chamber. So Marsha, I'm happy to introduce Ann Hudson to you.
Well, hello, good morning, close to afternoon to everybody, and hi Marsha, welcome. And to kind of give you a little lowdown, we do work for Principal. We're kind of a little arm of Principal that's out in West Moines, where everybody else is downtown, and we are a group of financial advisors. So we are heavily involved right now related to the community of trying to calm some nerves related to the financial situations that are going on, the economy that's happening, and spending a lot of time with customers right now. A lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of team meetings. We are actually, if you can tell, I'm back in the office. We have started to bring people back related to everything that has been going on, which is kind of exciting. Although we are taking it very cautiously to slowly step back in and at a very limited people back in the office. And we have also started some in-face customer meetings to calm some nerves related to what's happening from the economy standpoint and things going on. We're pretty heavily involved in small to medium-sized business market. So we spend a lot of time working with business owners and walking through what the PPP loans look like and business valuations, along with other ways to help ensure that their plan for succession, business valuations, and all that type of stuff related to group benefits and 401ks too. And we've been President Circle member of the Chamber for the last 4 years, I believe. It could be 3, but I believe it's 4. And it's been an excellent organization to be part of. That we've gotten to know a lot of members of the community, a lot of business owners, and it's a great way to network. So welcome, Marsha, and I'm glad you're part of the Chamber, and things have been going pretty good through this whole process. Just a lot to get used to in this whole process.
Yeah, and Marsha had to move during this whole thing, right, Marsha? Oh my gosh. Crazy, crazy. Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much, Anne. Thank you for your story. I like your new background. You have new offices too, right?
Not yet. We are actually downtown at 801 Grand, and we're reopening our offices July 24th. Or we're moving July 24th and July 27th. We're in the new West Moines office. So at some point in time, we will host something to have you all there, but when that is, who knows?
Well, we'll help you with a ribbon cutting at least. Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, let's do a ribbon cutting for you and help get the word out and create some buzz and energy. Yep. I love it.
Sounds
very
great.
Nice. Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much. Okay, and I think, yeah, Rob Reinard's on the line, and Jamie Letzring joined us too. So hi, Jamie. Hi, Rob. This is terrific. So Rob, we're going around the Zoom room, the virtual Zoom room, introducing each other, talking about leadership during COVID and what you've had to lean on, maybe some tips or some things you found particularly interesting as a leader during COVID. We appreciate you being here. Rob is VP Business Banking with Bankers Trust. He is also a board member and lead of our ambassadors. Those are our chamber champions, and we have lots of them. Some have been chamber champion for 15 or more years, so it's amazing. So thank you, Rob.
You're welcome. I don't know, can you hear me? Great.
Yes,
well,
we can hear you.
Well, I'm sure I'm like everyone else when I say that we are leaning on others because we're in a situation that no one has been through before. So you visit with your colleagues and you learn a lot about how to handle situations like this. And really, it's interesting from the standpoint where we as a bank were locked down for a while and didn't practice as stiff since we were amongst a very small group and most people working from home. And then when we opened up to the community, we actually had tightened up inside by wearing more masks because now we're inviting people into our facility. So it was kind of an interesting thing to lead that way with your employees who maybe don't understand how we're becoming more strict than we were in the past.
Yeah, and that being more strict, is that due to kind of the changes, Rob, and the ebb and flow of the COVID then?
Yes, it's because we're inviting the outside community into
Mhm.
our office space. Before when they were not invited in because we were locked down, we only had to deal with 4 or 5 people in the building, and if everyone's practicing like they are in the evenings, and we're so spread out in the office, whereas now you invite a few folks back into your facility and you welcome the community back into your building. Now you're welcoming more of an opportunity to catch the virus because of that welcoming.
So Rob and also Ann, are you seeing customers face to face? Is this something where your customers are feeling comfortable with? Both of you are, in that, you outreach to customers. So I might want to ask both of you that.
Well, we have some, it kind of goes both ways. I mean, there are some customers that are extremely comfortable in meeting. There's still social distancing that's taking place. And we're not meeting on any site. It has to be where they're comfortable and where they invite us to. And then in addition to that, it's, where their comfort level is. We go in with masks, we go in with everything, and it's all dictated by them. And also dictated by our advisors that go in, because it's where their comfort level is too. So we do have face-to-face meetings taking place, but they're generally fully dictated according to what the statutes are put forward related to social distancing, wearing masks, and going and having it in a place where people are comfortable. A lot of people are meeting outside too.
Oh, that's a good idea. Meeting outside by a pool might be a good idea here this
Yeah.
week. So, okay, I love it. Well, thank you, Rob. Really appreciate you being here this morning. Thank you so much.
Welcome. For us meeting, I again not exercise that pool request, but maybe that's a great idea. Keep your feet cool while you're visiting.
Yeah.
But again, as she mentioned, you have to follow their lead a little bit. The customers, that is, we're meeting here in the office mostly. We'll go out to their location, but take with you the hand sanitizer and the mask. So wearing mask at all time. To me, it's a little interesting. You might shake a person's hand, but then as soon as you do it, you put on the hand sanitizer. I don't know if that's kind of like kissing your wife and then wiping it off. But that's kind of entertaining that you do that, and they look at you like, well, it is what we do.
Well, I know Tom from UnityPoint is happy to hear that you're doing that.
Thanks.
That's wonderful. All right. So thank you so much, Rob. So I'd like to introduce now Therese Wielagi. Therese is Chief Marketing and Communications Officer. She just got a big promotion at Merchants Bonding Company, and she is also the Chamber's Vice Chair. So good morning, Therese.
Good morning. Glad to see everybody's on here. We start everything. Here's one thing we had to do. Everybody has to start everything with, how are you? How's your family? We hope you're safe and well. And we've been reminding all of our people in all their communications to not forget to do that, because you don't know if the person on the other end is safe and well. We have offices across the country, which include Seattle, New York City, Chicago, Phoenix, Texas. Our Texas offices are Austin and Dallas, so not the Houston area where our associates are. But anyway, we have 18 offices across the country, so we've had to manage, how are we going to do this for all these different offices and all these different folks. So we had sent like our Seattle office people and our New York office people home weeks before we went home here in Iowa. We did that March 16th, right after the president declared a national emergency. Sending people home is an easy decision. For us, it was. We have all the infrastructure, the online infrastructure, so that everybody can work from home. We've on other calls, I think I've told some of you that we practice that, because our offices used to be in downtown Des Moines, right on Grays Lake, right on Fleur Drive at George Flagg, and once a year it flooded and they closed the floodgates, and we could hardly, not everybody could even get to the building. So we practiced the work from home thing a lot. So we were really ready for that. I tell you, the hard thing is the going back and figuring out the going back. So we made the decision, even though other people were saying June 1st, July 1st, we just told everybody in May, we're not going back at least until August 1st. Just plan your summer. We're not even going to do it until then, and we'll make sure we give you 2 weeks notice, and we'll see, you know, how it's going. Because we're working so well from home, if we have to have people wear masks, why go back? That's a big question for us. Why go back? So we're talking about that with our incident management team. And you asked me like the one word, and I'd have to go with Tom's one word. Absolutely, it's resilience. Absolutely, it's yes, we can. Just we got to do it a different way. Figure out doing it a different way. So we hurried up and did Zoom training, and we taught everybody how to use Zoom, and that worked out really well. We also added, and we were adding it anyway, but we added a intranet, and so it just happened to be great timing. And then on that is we use Mercy One's health portal for our well-being portal, which also includes a lot of mental health things for people, and just it has all kinds of, you know, diet groups and exercise groups and drink water challenges and all that stuff that everybody's still doing together, on only doing it online. But I have no idea how many associates are availing themselves of the mental health resources that are there for them, but man, they need it. Some of these parents were pulling their hair out. I mean, I don't know if you guys, I'm old and I'm going to be a grandma. I'll tell you about that later. But people who have little ones at home and they're trying to like make sure their kindergartner is doing his screen time while they're trying to work. I'm not sure how this fall is going to go. It's a huge deal for us to try to figure out how to help all these parents. I should leave it there. I don't want to take too much time.
Well, that's interesting. And then Marsha, maybe you can let us know what your educational plan, what you're thinking. And I know a lot of people are like, we're still working on our plan. We don't know our plan, you know, because and things change every day too, right? But wonderful. Well, wonderful, Therese. Thank you so much for your insight and input. And thank you for being here to meet Marsha with us today. So absolutely beautiful. I am excited to introduce to you Marsha David Leto, and David is president of the Palmer Group. Plus he's the Your Turn program for interns. It's something that the chamber does every summer that Kara Matheson is leading the charge on. It's our really cool internship educational program for interns, and he's our presenting sponsor. So thank you, David, for being on the line with us today.
Thanks, Katherine. I appreciate it. Therese, as you can tell, the pulling the hair out affected me as well. So I have young kids, and unfortunately, it's been gone for a lot longer than COVID. But yeah, good to be with all of you again today. And so Palmer Group, we are a full-service talent solutions firm. We help companies hire people on a temp and contract basis, full-time basis. We also help companies with special projects and IT projects. We have about 80 internal employees. Our main office is in West Des Moines, and then we have a satellite office in Cedar Rapids. So a lot of different areas, from customer service and admin to IT to sales and marketing, HR, accounting, finance. So you name it, we kind of do it in the professional services realm. So with this, you know, the traits for us is, you know, we have a large number of contract and temp people in the field, and then with our 80 employees, it's just the communication around this whole thing from start to finish was really key. We couldn't over communicate enough to our internal staff, to our folks in the field, and then to our clients, and it worked really, really well. We've just started phasing people back in about a little over a month ago. We have about a quarter of our office that's come back voluntary. The rest are staying home, working from home still. So just, you know, the communication about it and being vulnerable as a leader has been really important, because we're all going through it together. And just having that level of communication with them, and then, you know, really showing a lot of gratitude for the folks and what they are going through at home, and the work they're working to put in to helping the company get through it, has been a big part of my deal all along. So again, a pleasure to be here, and nice to meet you, Marsha.
to meet you. Thanks.
Thank you, David. I love the gratitude. That's neat. Do you have a gratitude campaign? I've heard of some people doing that where they, write so many notes a week and so many, shout outs. I mean, if somebody could craft a gratitude campaign and sell that, I think that would be a moneymaker. But is there any particular thing that you do that you find people really love?
I was sending notes out every day when it started with it, and then that phased to a few times a week, and I did several LinkedIn posts sharing gratitude for different things and people, and then I've been using the last few weeks. I've done Loom videos. If you're familiar with those, you can. It's a free. You can use that as a free tool online, and those were really cool. Just as a wishing people having a great weekend and just highlighting a few things that have gone well over the past week. So. Just trying to stay upbeat and positive, and gratitude and gratefulness goes a long way to that.
I love that. Thank you for the new tool idea, Loom. We're gonna have to check that out. And I love the public recognition of an employee, like via LinkedIn, and yeah, so then they get that public recognition. That's neat. Giving us some good ideas. Thank you. Wonderful. I am excited to introduce to you Marsha. Deborah Hudson, Debbie Hudson. Debbie is general manager of one of our top athletic clubs in the region. It's called the Athletic Club here in West Des Moines. And she was also, the Athletic Club was our co-sponsor of our big event of the year, which is our annual dinner. So we just had that a few weeks ago. So thanks for being on the line, Debbie.
Hi, I'm in a little square. You can't see me since I had to go through the audio on my phone. And the one thing that comes to mind for us, we're a full service fitness facility, and there are people that were so miserable not being able to come into the club while we were closed, that there are so many people here, and we have to be super respectful and empathetic to how those people that have the fears from one end to the other, we need to keep that social distancing. We wear masks, but we don't require it of our members. We ask that members wipe their equipment off before and after they use it. And there is definitely a wide range of comfortability between those people that, wouldn't even think twice about walking away from a piece of equipment and not wiping it off, to those people that they're scared. They want to come into the club. They want to keep up their immune system. They want to be around people, but they need a place where they feel safe. And so we've all become somewhat guard dogs. And then we also need to, quite often I've talked to a member and just explained to them that, hey, you may feel good and you may feel like you're not at any risk, but this person beside you is 65 years old and they still want to be able to keep healthy, and they shouldn't have to stay home to do that. So we need you to have some empathy also. And then those members that call and ask if they can keep their membership on hold until they're comfortable coming back. I have employees that aren't comfortable coming back, and I've had to ask members to have some empathy because maybe we're not able to have an aerobics class because that instructor is not comfortable, or they don't have anybody that's able to watch their children. So it's just amazing how I'm giving grace and asking for grace repeatedly throughout the day and getting my employees to do the same thing. So just basically learning how to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Sorry, got an announcement in the background for you.
Debbie, you never thought you'd have to be kind of the watchman, right? The watchman of people's hygienic behaviors. Who would have thought you'd be in this position? So that's tough.
And there's not enough of us to walk behind people all the time and wipe up behind them. We're just not physically capable of doing that, even though we try. So it's a test, but we're getting there.
Well, thank you for all that you do. I know exercising is key to that mental health, right? Therese was talking about it. The mental health piece is so important right now. This is hard for everybody. So we applaud you for being open and doing what you do. So thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Okay, we are excited to, oh, we've got Dean David Spalding just joined the line too. Oh, very, very good. I love it. Hi, Dean Spalding. Welcome, welcome. We're going to move to Robert Palmer, and then we'll have David Spalding speak, and then Jamie Letzring, and then we want to hear from Marsha. So, okay, Robert Palmer is General Counsel and Director of Government Affairs, Iowa League of Cities, and he is a valued board member of the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Robert.
Well, hey, Marsha, nice to meet you and everybody else. It's great to see some faces. I look forward to seeing them not through a video camera, though, when we can get back into person. You know, the word I came up with, and it sounds to me like it's exactly like resiliency, but it was adaptability. And we represent cities across the state of Iowa, and we have staff. We also have a workers' compensation pool the league has. And so we've had our employees that have to keep going because our members do. And so as we were going through this, we had to adapt, just like everybody else, the way we were doing business. Thankfully, and I think Teresa kind of touched on it, but we were very fortunate. We implemented a strategic plan of what would we do in the event of about a month before COVID hit. And the final purchase of laptops for our staff, we'd been doing this over about 3 years. The final purchase occurred in just weeks prior to. So when COVID hit, probably about a week before we closed down, at a meeting, I said, all right, well, we're going to test it on Thursday. And everybody said, well, that sounds pretty crazy. We just got on the laptop. I said, well, the likelihood of us not being here next week is pretty high. So let's get those tested. And, you know, we got very lucky there, but then we've had to adapt to, you know, how do we do these virtual meetings? And we have a lot of members in rural communities that don't have fast internet. And so which one is best? We found Zoom actually can work really well, better than some of the others. But obviously they're all doing upgrades and they're all trying to accommodate for that situation because we're not alone there. Our members have also been trying to adapt and trying to learn and react on an ongoing basis to a situation that quite frankly, there was zero book for. You know, city officials, city employees, they were elected, they dedicate themselves to their community, but this just wasn't something. Obviously, we all prepare for maybe there was a flood or something like that, but to go statewide to affect every aspect of what we do was just something that I don't think anybody had predicted. So being adaptable, knowing that we still have to do our jobs, whether it's providing guidance to members, whether it's advocating within the legislative session, but then also being adaptable, knowing that maybe because of kids being home, that 8:30 to 4:30 or whatever hours people considered kind of the workday isn't when those emails will be responded to, or isn't exactly the turnaround you would normally expect. So I think we've just been kind of looking forward, trying to adapt. It's, you know, just to give you an example, over the weekend, I think to myself, well, I'm going to enjoy the 4th of July weekend. And then we start a mask discussion on whether or not cities can require masks in the state of Iowa. So these discussions become very interesting. I'm kind of a fan of all the new subject matters. I wish that we weren't doing them under these conditions, but I do like to learn new things and to be involved in new areas. So it's been a time to adapt, and I don't see it you know, ending soon. We all certainly hope that it does. You know, one thing we were talking about before the call is I think that, you know, we can all pretty much understand that going back to normal, the way things were, probably isn't ever going to happen. There's going to be some adaptation to what we saw, and whether it's, you know, a hybrid form of meetings. Now the expectation that there will be an electronic option to meetings that previously were done primarily in person is just one of those things I think we'll take with us. So even as we come out of COVID and we establish a new normal, there will be a way of life, whether it's that most people pick up their groceries by driving up and opening the trunk and not going in, or many, many other things. But I think that we've got a lot of learning to do, and it'll be very interesting to, you know, I'm optimistic. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what we can take from this that adds a benefit to the way we were doing things before. So Marsha, welcome. I look forward to learning more about you, and glad to have you a part of the chamber.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much. Adaptability is so true. Yep, to introduce David Spalding. And David is the Raisbeck Endowed Dean of Iowa State University Ivy College of Business. And we do an event called Accelerate for Young Professionals. And the Ivy College of Business is our presenting sponsor. So good morning, David.
Morning, Katherine. And Marsha, welcome. Welcome to Iowa, welcome to Des Moines, and most importantly, welcome to Simpson. So pleased to have you joining the higher education community here in central Iowa. So in addition to being the Dean of the Debbie and Jerry Ivy College of Business, I'm also the Interim Vice President for Economic Development here at Iowa State. And so that gets me more involved with chamber activities than I would be just as the Dean. So so I have a feeling if I chose one word, it'd be a word everybody's already used. So I'm going to go with my favorite story around these times, which is the old Mike Tyson story, where Mike Tyson said there's great value in a plan, but as soon as somebody punches you in the nose, the plan goes out the window. And that's sort of what this whole COVID time feels like. We spend a tremendous amount of time planning, and then the facts come charging in, and you have to shift direction. Again, we spent a lot of time planning what we were going to do for the spring, and really wanted to try to hold on as much as possible to the possibility of getting everybody back in person, having a graduation here in the spring, and ultimately events just kept moving and moving, and it was clear we couldn't do that. And so planning that we had done around coming back had to be tossed, and stuck with being online fully for the spring semester. And it went well. We got very positive feedback from our students, but the one thing our students said universally was in the fall, they wanted to be back in Ames. And so then the plan of how you figure that one out, as I'm sure you're wrestling with this as you walk in the door. I was late onto this call because I had yet another call put on my calendar this morning by the provost to have another discussion around some of the things we're doing with courses for the fall. And so we've got a tremendous amount of planning that's gone into reopening for students in the fall. Our board made that decision a couple of months ago. We're looking to do it on a safe basis for our students, a safe basis for our faculty, a safe basis for our staff. And so working through all the elements of that, very, very complicated. And I have this really bad feeling that like the second week of September, we're going to get something that happens, and we're going to toss all that out the window and start scrambling with what the fall is going to be. Last month, the person who made the presentation about the outline of what our fall was going to look like, the first question she got was, so what are we doing for spring of 21? And she was like, oh my God, we just figured out the fall. Don't ask me about the spring. We continue to do that work though, and continue to think about that safety, and I think to Robert's point, and I'm sure everybody's point though, it requires continued flexibility as the facts change around this disease, this pandemic. As we learn more about it, we learn more about how to be safe. We have to continue to make changes, but. Again, Marsha, so pleased to have you here, and I also look forward to hearing about you.
Thank you.
I love it. A lot of great words: flexibility, grace, adaptability, resiliency. Yes, we can. Communication. A lot of great words here today. Thank you for your insights, Dean Spalding. Really appreciate it. Glad you're able to join us. I am now excited to introduce Jamie Letzring, and maybe she'll tell us about some amazing news that West Des Moines announced just a few days ago. But Jamie is Deputy City Manager for the city, the most amazing city in the world, right? West Des Moines.
The best Des Moines.
And West Des Moines. And she's been up to doing a lot of amazing things for our city. So happy you're able to join us.
Thank you, Katherine. Yeah, Katherine's referring to our announcement, our partnership with Google Fiber last Thursday. That's a project that started before COVID, but suddenly became extremely important as soon as we were all sent home to work from home and to school from home. So we're excited about that announcement. And also, Marsha, I'm a Simpson graduate, so happy to be representing. So, one word, I guess, probably, I'm not sure if it's been used, but hope. I would say hope and maybe some trust. We saw what happened when nationally, folks just did not have trust in government. And so as a government employee, maintaining some trust from your local level was very, very important to us. And trust for the employees, a little bit of hope that things will begin to improve, and trust that we have their best interest in mind. And really we tried hard to educate ourselves from expert data. There's a lot of information to educate yourself, but educating yourself from expert data is obviously, most crucial. I'm one of those parents that was pulling my hair out at home with, at the time, a 6th grader and a 3rd grader, and I'm a single mom, so we did a lot of things. I guess the only medical recommendation I was not following was the pediatric guidelines for screen time. Those immediately went out the window. we couldn't make it through any other way. But a lot of patience with each other, a lot of grace, a lot of conversations with the kids about what this is going to look like, and calming those fears. And then I kept a Post-it note because I also work with some other moms who have little ones at home, and we're feeling overwhelmed by the workload that was already a lot. But then to add in the workload of your family as well at the same time, I kept a Post-it note by my desk space in my living room that said, I'm not working from home, I'm at home during a global crisis trying to work. And that really reminded me to differentiate the fact that it's okay to allow myself a little bit of breathing space and a little bit of grace during this time frame. So those are a couple of ideas, comments that I had.
I love that. Yeah, it's more efficient sometimes to be on Zoom, but then you're at home, and so you have family and kids and the refrigerator, saying the dog, exactly. So, well, thank you and congratulations on your wonderful announcement. Google Fiber, West Des Moines. We are wiring every business and every residence in West Des Moines. It's going to be an amazing, amazing project. I am so excited to introduce Marsha Kelliher, and a little bit about Marsha. If you didn't have a chance to go onto her LinkedIn, or the Simpson College had a wonderful information. She is a graduate of the University of San Diego School of Law. She has her LLM in Labor and Employment Law. She has her bachelor's from Indiana University. She also attended South Texas College of Law in Houston, where she received her JD. And her career reads like the who's who. So she began her career at Pete Marwick. She was the dean of the School of Management and Business at St. Edward's University in Austin. What a great town, right? Isn't their slogan, keeping it weird in Austin? I love Austin. Oh my gosh, what a great tagline. She was there for 18 years. She created 6 new majors, 6 new grad programs, a women's symposium, the list goes on. She was president and CEO of Walsh College in Detroit, called Troy, Michigan. It's near Detroit. And now she's at Simpson College, 24th president, first female president of Simpson College. And she started on June 1. So, and a funny thing, she's already been to Bubba's, and she's been to the Hall in West Des Moines. And she loved the Hall. So yay, I'm going to turn it over to Marsha. Thank you, Marsha.
Thank you, Katherine. Thank you for putting all of this together. These are wonderful introductions. I appreciate the opportunity to meet all of you and hear about your challenges through COVID, because it sounds like we're all experiencing very similar things. So as Katherine referred to, I am a recovering attorney, but have been in higher ed since about 1994. Was very happy at Walsh. But I have a friend who is a very proud alum of Simpson College, so I knew quite a bit about Simpson because it was something he always talked about throughout the years. And when the opportunity arose at Simpson, and I started looking into it a little bit more closely, I was very impressed with their academic programs, all the co-curricular activities, athletics, the accomplishments of the faculty, the staff, the students, the faculty, student research that was going on, the level of student engagement. And I was particularly impressed that within 6 months of graduation, approximately 99% of the graduates are employed or getting ready for a graduate program. And so I went ahead and applied for the position, and I guess you could say the rest is history. But there was a twist. I kind of flew in and met with some of the search committee members off campus, but had only a very brief time on campus. So right before I moved here, one of my friends said, so let me get this straight. You're moving to a campus that you haven't toured, you're moving into a house you've never been in, and you're moving to a town you really haven't seen. And I said, that's exactly right. Because normally I would have come back like 3 times before I started after I had accepted the position, but wasn't able to because of COVID. So my girlfriend teased me and she said, well, you clearly really want this job. And I said, you're right. So I'm thrilled to be here and being a part of the community, and appreciate how welcoming everybody has been. And especially appreciate Katherine's recommendations. I still have a few more of those to go through. But we're going to be starting on a new strategic planning process this fall. So I'm going to be looking to all of you to tell me what are the knowledge and skills you need for your industries that we need in this community. What are those knowledge and skills today? What are you looking for in the future? And in what ways can we partner, whether that be with degrees, certifications, continuing education, because we want to help contribute to your success, as well as contribute to the prosperity of the region and the state. And so I'm going to be turning to all of you for your thoughts, and look forward to getting to know you on a personal level, and hopefully in person and not via a camera. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate the opportunity to get to know all of you.
Thank you so much, Marsha. So can you also kind of shed light on maybe some things that you're focusing in on right away at Simpson? It sounds like you're doing a strategic plan, so that probably means a lot of new, things will come from that and ideas. But would love to kind of hear of some things that you're sort of thinking and wishing and dreaming for Simpson for the future.
Well, similar to what you just heard, we are planning on coming back face-to-face, but of course, quite a bit of time is being spent on how do we do that safely, especially with athletics. It looks like those are going forward. And then what are we going to do if we have to pivot because there are large outbreaks? So a lot of my time right now is really engaged with the community on how we collaborate and innovate and get prepared for multiple scenarios. As we're looking to the strategic plan and that process, we're going to really be focusing in on the mission, the vision, the values, the history, and the tradition. Simpson has always been known as being welcoming and also being very, very focused on providing access to education. And so finding new ways to do that, new ways to fulfill the mission. And then, of course, based on the Methodist traditions, looking at ways to enhance our diversity, our inclusiveness, are also going to be big priorities as well.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. So you're going through a big strategic plan. That's a big lift and so exciting. Are you using an outside company for that, or tell us a little bit about that process? Strategic planning is so valuable, and there's so many experts in the region that do that.
Prior to my arrival, there was a team that did work with an outside company on some elements, and so they've really done some of the research, a great deal of the research, and they've laid out the foundation. Wonderful work that has already been done that we're going to be building on during the coming year.
Nice. That's really neat. We kind of talked about that at the chamber, getting everybody involved in a big strategic plan. So yeah, well, I love to hear the stories about, you, Marsha, and Dean Spalding, looking at, you have huge populations that you're responsible for. And so, as time changes and as I guess, COVID ebbs and flows, you're thinking about, you know, the what ifs and ways to quickly pivot. So I can imagine you do have several scenarios already outlined, you know, if this, then this, if this happens, then this. So it's interesting. Does the educational community get together and kind of, you know, talk through some of those things? Is this something that we do in Iowa, where we get leaders like you, Marsha, and Dean Spalding together to think how the educational institutions can manage these kinds of things?
Dean Spalding's been doing this a little bit longer than I have, so I'll let him answer that and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, there definitely is a sharing of best practices and sharing of approaches. Now, a lot of that with us comes through connections with the Big 12. We're a member of the Association of American Universities, which is the top 64 research universities in the United States and Canada. That group actually has various subgroups that are meeting a couple of times a week to talk about some of these issues. And then, of course, with the regions, you've got Iowa State and Northern Iowa all together. And there certainly has been, as we've gone through our decision making, both through the spring and the fall, there's a lot of collaboration and discussion among our three institutions.
And then we're a member of the Iowa Independent Colleges and Universities. And so our group is talking and preparing and sharing best practices as well. The presidents talk around the whole athletics situation. And then the Methodist institutions, as Simpson is a Methodist institution, we're all talking among ourselves as well. But I think that there's vast networks within different disciplines, CFO networks, for almost each of the levels at the cabinet level that are collaborating through their organizations as well.
Sounds really good. Sounds good. Well, we wish for the day when all the sports and all of the fun and all of the, you know, young adults were back together. I know it's what we all wish for, right? We all miss it in our community. We have Jamie Pollard, speaking of which, speaking at one of our upcoming chamber events. So that's going to be really interesting. So that's pretty neat. We've got a question from Therese Wielagi. She says, what are you looking at with online education in terms of getting more diverse students and in turn giving employers access to a more diverse workforce? So online education and engaging diverse populations. That's a good question. I guess both to Marsha and David, yeah.
Yeah, we already had a unit that was delivering courses online. And so we were able to then educate the other faculty members and convert those classes to an online format. And then we also had a program called SOFA, Simpson Online Faculty Academy, that several of our faculty went through to enhance their online teaching skills. But when you talk about being able to reach diverse populations, that definition can take on even broader connotations, because now you have to start looking at the diverse ways that different students learn. And for some students, you have to be very creative to be able to create that engaging classroom environment. And then the other thing that we are looking at too is the access. So many students don't have access to the internet that they need, and finding ways to be able to support their technology needs, their access needs, to even be able to participate in a classroom. All of those are different things that we have been looking at and we have dealt with and continue to look at ways to be able to respond to.
Yeah, very important issue, very important question, Therese. And it'll be good, Jamie, in a couple of years when this is going Google Fiber, right? Every household will have access to tap into that. So for education and online learning, that's going to be huge. I wish we could snap our fingers and it was done today, but things take time. That's, but we're on the right track.
I think just access to not only Google Fiber as a provider, but from any provider, your provider choice. So, if whoever your provider is will be able to have access to anyone, and Google Fiber is just one of those internet service providers that's coming to West Des Moines. So that's exciting.
It's amazing. And how many people in the U.S. have access like what we're going to have, Jamie?
Google Fiber is in, I think, 12 other cities, with
Just
Kansas
12.
City being probably the next largest, maybe Huntsville, Alabama. They have about a population of about 200,000.
Cool.
But the model that we've worked on where we have provider choice fiber to the home is relatively unique.
Wow, wonderful. I love how we're innovative and groundbreaking. This is terrific. Well, thank you so much, Marsha. Any last words, or anybody got another great restaurant that maybe you recommend for Marsha? And it has to be in West Des Moines, of course. So, although Bubba's is downtown, we love Bubba's, but
there's lots of great restaurants.
We've been doing
in
a lot of
Nola.
lunches from Club Car.
oh yeah, Club Car is good. Yeah.
Oh, that might be across the street though, Jamie. Is that in Clive?
It is.
It is in Clive. Sorry, Robert.
Sorry, Robert.
I have not been eating there.
Pickerman's has a really great turkey avocado roll that I really enjoy. That might be one to think about.
And St. Kilda just opened up in Valley Junction. So who's been to St. Kilda yet? The new, so that's really fun. I know I haven't gone yet either, Jamie, but St. Kilda is wonderful. So that's really good. So thank you so much, Marsha. We really appreciate this opportunity, and have a beautiful Monday. And we want to thank everybody for being here. This was a lot of fun. Again, this was our very first Welcome to the West VIP event. We're going to be doing more of those. Our next VIP is the brand new president of Iowa Clinic, Ben Valor. We're getting a date together with Ben. So he's brand new to the area as well, just like Marsha. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And just a little sneak peek announcement, we're going to be doing a brand new awards event this November called the Best of the West Awards. And you'll be finding some really cool information on that. So that's going to be beautiful for West Des Moines to help spotlight all of our great restaurants and retailers and businesses and the people that make our West Des Moines community so strong. So I want to thank everybody for your time today, this morning. Hope this helps to kick off your week. Marsha, again, thank you for choosing Iowa. And we love Simpson College. You have a big MBA school here, right, in West Des Moines. You're continuing ed. So thank you so much, Marsha, for being a part of the chamber, and everybody else. And we wish you a happy, cool Monday.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everybody.
Welcome, Marsha.